So we'll do the countdown. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunter's Hub and a Happy New Year, because it is January 1st. Immediately. What's the one for? Oh, okay. You had your finger up to your lips like, shush, 420. There's things happening.
You're good.
This is 420 with, like I said, the Hunter's Hub podcast. We are a video game podcast that was born of the Monster Hunter community, but we continue to talk about other games. So, joining us, co-host Sasha. How you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty great. I'm ready to talk about the games of the year.
Yes.
And you guys.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes that we do, is we talk about like all of the games of the previous year that we enjoyed and one that we didn't enjoy, although I have 3, which I will only rant about one, I swear. I will quickly mention 2 and I will rant about 1. And then Ace, welcome back and happy holidays.
Hi. Happy holidays to you as well. Happy New Year.
Thanks. It's been great so far. I just got a second date on New Year's Day. Cool.
Nice.
Our first date was 3 years ago, though, so it's just a bit of a reconnection thing. It's a bit
interesting.
So we'll see. We'll see. It totally ended because it was my fault, 100%. So I feel like I'm good now. I got scared. She was like super into me, and I was like, okay. Not in a bad way. It was just the first date I had been on since the divorce, so I panicked.
I mean, fair.
So, it was my fault, 100%. So, we're going to talk about our games of the year. So the way we're going to do this, and we talked about this a little bit, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but we're going to do 5-4, and then honorable mention, and then 3-2, and then completely cut all build up and do a dishonorable mention and do number 1 and end on a positive note.
Okay.
So these are indeed ranked, people. Normally when we talk about games, we don't rank them because that's a lot of thought, but like this is the one where we do indeed rank our favorites. So we will get right to it. I'll go last. So I'll have Sasha, you go first if that's okay.
Give me a second. I'm having some weird stuff with my Audacity, so we may have to like re-clap in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, give me a second to sort that out.
Sure.
It's moving really choppy, so I feel like
fair.
It like froze for 30 seconds and now it's moving choppy, so. Okay. I have it going again if you want to re-clap in for audio.
Yep. All right. So
okay, sorry.
No, it's good. We'll re-clap.
All right.
You ready? I guess we don't need Ace to do it because we're already synced. So.
Okay. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Okay, you just snapped your fingers. I was like, what is he doing? He has his face like he's going to do something naughty.
I mean, generally you should be afraid of that, I guess.
You can be a troll, yes. It has happened. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going first, yeah?
Yeah. So you're number 5 for the year of 2021.
Okay, so my number 5 is probably the oldest game on this list.
Okay.
And it's the only computer game I think that I put like some significant time into this year.
Okay.
It is Shadowrun Returns, which came out.
The strategy RPG, yeah.
Yes. This one came out in 2013, which I had bought it, I think, probably sometime shortly after that on Steam, and it had just been sitting in my Steam library collecting cyber dust. So I decided to play it. I played as a shaman, which isn't like your traditional shaman class like you would think in like WoW or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Had like it did have I think like some crowd control things, which is the only common elements.
Sure.
But I wanted to play it again as a Decker class, which goes really more deep into the like cyberpunk elements of this game. There are aspects of the game I was not able to unlock because I couldn't get into the areas because you had to be a Decker or have a Decker in your class. So it is a lot more. It does have some replayability, but Shadowrun Returns started off as like a, hey, you're gonna solve this crime of who murdered your friend, and then it turned into there are aliens taking over the world and you have to stop this cult. Pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is some raising the stakes there.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure I actually own this game on GOG, and it's on my list of eventually to play. I have run so like I was saying before the show, I beat a lot of games this week with some. It's been weird. I've had less time to play games than normal during the holiday season because I've been working more than ever this holiday season. Like we had a bunch of projects just pile up at the end of the year. So like a little bit not New Year's Eve, but before New Year's Eve is usually a holiday for us. I do believe I clocked 9 hours of work that day. So
That's pretty good.
and my fingers hurt because it was all wiring. So like twisting copper wire and stuff like all day. It was not fun. But so Shadowrun returns. I wish I had played this game already. I have been told very good things.
It's pretty cool. There's also, I guess, a bunch of mods for more campaigns beyond the one that comes standard. And then the Shadowrun Hong Kong, I think, is a pretty much just exact same game engine, new campaign, some brushed up graphics.
Yeah, I think that Shadowrun Returns, and Hong Kong were on sale at one point, and I picked them up in a bundle. I think that's what I did. I don't know.
I feel like that's what I did too because I have all three of them in my Steam library.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was on GOG, and it was last year, I think. I think I actually did it last year. So, but I never played it. So it's sitting in my queue. My first like old game to go back to right now is actually a Far Cry Blood Dragon that Pan has suggested to me so much to play. So we'll get there eventually. So I wish I could say more about Shadowrun. I've never played it. All I know is it's a strategy RPG. Any experience with that, Ace?
Nope.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Me too.
Is it permadeath stuff like XCOM, or is it more forgiving?
I don't know because I think I got lucky my first run through and nobody died.
Oh. So you don't know.
So I don't know.
So a bit of a humble flex there. Okay.
A little bit. I'm not as good at Wasteland though, I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right. So Ace, keep us going. What's your number 5 for 2021?
Number 5, we'll just get the obvious one out of the way. Would be Monster Hunter Rise.
Really? You had 4 games above Rise. That's interesting.
Well, not necessarily in terms of like how much I like them, but just to get the obvious one out of the way.
Sure. Okay. All right. You know, these are specifically ranked, right? Okay. They're supposed to be.
Not so much for me.
Okay.
But I don't want to do that. I wanna throw a monkey wrench into your machine and watch it sputter and smoke and shoot out sparks.
All right. Sure. So Monster Hunter Rise, the obvious one out of the way. How many hours did you put in it?
I'm pretty sure it said I had like upwards of 300.
I
I
believe
think.
it. I was at 346 on the Nintendo end of year report.
hmm I mean, I don't know if you saw mine, but it had Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Generations, Monster Hunter Stories 2 as my top three, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I forget what my number two was. It might have been, but I know my number three was Minecraft, and I was like, I hate this so much. I hate that this showed up so much, but it was specifically with the girls, so I can't, I can't say, oh, I hated playing with my girls like the most on my Switch, appearing this year. I can't say that part of it. I just don't like Minecraft.
hmm
So,
Fair enough.
but yeah, so Monster Hunter Rise, we have said a lot about this game over 2021, and will continue to say so much because of Sunbreak. Um, it might be on Sasha's list to play at some point, especially hopefully for Sunbreak.
I almost bought it again. It's on sale for a couple more days.
Okay.
It is. It is so newcomer friendly, especially with the wire bugs. They get you out of so many situations.
Hmm.
I,
I don't know what that means, but I trust you.
It's like a grappling hook that doesn't have to hook onto anything. You throw a bug out, and
Mhm,
the bug is the grappling hook, and it pulls you away.
Okay.
mhm.
So it's like
And you could ninja run up walls and shit.
yeah. But without the context of knowing you couldn't do that before, that doesn't really help. But yeah, there's a lot more
It
mobility in this.
sounds like it
As
solves a
as
lot of problems in
as for
exploration.
Yeah,
as
it
421
does.
has expressed displeasure for, you used to have to press a button and jump up on the ledge and then pull yourself
Oh
up.
my gosh. I when we went back and played 3 Ultimate, it still hurt so bad because it's like run up to ledge, run up, huh, and then it's a max of it's like it just jumps to the max. It doesn't matter where the ledge is in the game. You jump up to the max and then just sort of clip down to wherever the ledge is and then slowly pull yourself up like you're my
Hey,
weight. And somehow able to pull my weight up over the ledge. It is long. It is a long animation. And in Rise, it's like whoop, wire bug up. I'm already up there. Let's keep going. The momentum is so much better.
hi, needy girl.
What?
I said hi, needy girl,
Oh,
because we're watching this one, and she is one of the neediest puppers of all time.
gotcha. Yeah, I was like, what? Did you call me a needy girl for wanting momentum in the movement? I
I mean, why not? Sure.
don't. All right.
Thank
So
you.
number 5 for Ace is Monster Hunter Rise. Okay. Um, yeah, it's an amazing Monster Hunter game. People should play it. Everyone should play it. Most people who are listening have probably played it. Uh, so, all right. So my number 5, I played it on PC. It's currently on Switch. It is on other systems as well. It is a retro FPS called Dusk. This game is fun.
I think I've heard of that before.
So it's weird because it's like Quake, like original Quake level graphics. Um, but it's a really just fast paced like action first person shooter in those days of like sort of like Quake movement, bunny hopping and that kind of stuff. I don't didn't do a lot of bunny hopping because I didn't play those kind of games. I was more of a Doom sort of feet on the ground player because you can't jump in Doom. Um, this game was really fun. It's really creepy. You got to do stuff like fight like Wendigos and like there's like factories. It's really weird. It's like imagine if you were like in Russia with a cornfield. Like it's just like dystopian Russia with a cornfield. Like there's people with gas masks
Mhm.
and it's actually kind of a creepy game. And the final boss fight Not the final boss fight. There's like an antagonist that's throughout the whole game. And I legit like, so have you ever seen something that you just look at it and you're like sudden cold chill? I haven't had that in a game usually in a long time, but I was exploring a room looking for ammo and stuff, and I turned out, look at this painting, and it's just this guy's face there, and it's a very creepy looking face, but it's like right there in your face, and like whole body cold chill, just like, ugh, the creeps. Like, I've not had that in a long time playing a game, just looking at that painting. And it's weird because it's super pixelated and it looks terrible, but it was still super creepy looking. Like,
Mm-hmm.
only to find out I had to fight that guy like 20 minutes later, which didn't feel as terrible because, he's, fightable, I guess. Like, like when something's creepy and you have to confront it, it stops being creepy. But I don't know. There was something about that game. Like, I'd heard a lot of great things about its level design, its fast paced, just shooting and action, and I agree with all the praises that people gave it. I had been holding out to make it a Bickering Bucks episode, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna play it, and I did, and I loved it, and I don't know how else to describe it. It's not super expensive. It's a great game. It's got cool weapons. I particularly like there's like they have a hunting rifle, but like it loads faster than any hunting rifle should ever. So it's like ping, ping. It's like, oh, that feels fun. Like it feels like just fun, like an old school shooter, and it's great. Got some really creepy stuff. There's a level where the tornado, and it's just like, hey, you're out in this field and there's a tornado, and it's just like, where do you go? And I finally figured it out because the tornado follows you, and you actually have to trick the tornado into tearing down the church because there's like a secret base underneath the church. So like it dissipates once it hits the church or something like that. It was like, okay, this is weird. But it's not like, oh, hey, like little skinny tornado kind of thing. It's like, no, it takes up like, you have to look far left and far right to see the edges of it. Like it's massive. And you're like, what do I do? It's very like it's an experience of a game. So yeah, Dusk. It is available on Switch, but I played it on GOG. So PC. I do believe it's on PlayStation and Xbox as well. So there you go, Dusk. It's my number 5. So Sasha, you're number 4.
My number 4 is the beautiful Katamari reroll. This is I guess my Minecraft of my list because it is the game that I played the most with my kid.
Yeah.
She loves it. She'll ask just to watch the opening scene. Like where they sing the Katamari song and it's like a fever dream and all the like, yep. And there's like elephants and hot air balloons and pizza and random shit all over the place.
Yep.
And yep.
And
yep. So we have to parade around the house.
I always found the king creepy just because of how large he is, and like when you make him angry in the game, it is legit scary sometimes.
He's just rude to me pretty much all the time. I didn't realize that he wasn't rude until I started to get very good at Katamari, and then he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest! I could cry. It's so beautiful." I'm like, I didn't know you had it in you.
Yeah.
It is scary though. We were playing one day, and she kept asking me to turn it up, and I was playing like a level where you go through the city, and I started picking up people, and they're just screaming like, freaking out. My husband's in the kitchen. He's like, "What are you doing? What is happening in there?" Like,
yeah.
Just big hugs with all the people in the street.
Don't worry, babe. I'm doing Katamari things.
Yeah. So I've gotten through a lot of that game. I'm at about 94% of picking up all of the objects. I have think like 3 named items left on the list. I'm at the point now where I probably could just look at the master list and identify what I need and where to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I have left to do in the game. I got all of the king's gifts, and there was a rage-inducing level, one that it took me maybe like a week, because I would like stop after about 20 minutes of failure of like I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna break the controller. I cannot do
Is
this.
it one of those ones where you have to like pick up the specific item and not pick up any of the other ones?
Yes. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a cow level, and I think it's cows, and there's all these little. Yes, it is cows. There's these little fucking cows on the roof, and you have to like spin your Katamari and launch off a ramp and catch this thing that's being suspended by a balloon, and you have to do it perfectly. And if you don't, there's a bunch of like little cows in front of the ramp, so you have to like wait for them to walk around and not walk into you. And then if you miss the Katamari present, you drop into the playground area that's filled with fucking cows.
Mm-hmm.
So you just automatically fail immediately. So I gave myself like a 20-minute limit of like, if you don't get it in 20 minutes, just try again tomorrow. And when I finally did it, I'm like, oh my god, yes! And my daughter's like, yay! Did it! And I'm like, yes, now we're never playing this game again. Turn it off. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's when you just do the eternal version, so that you can just listen to the.
There, you know,
You just like
Over and
walk
over
on the earth. Like I think
The
it's the moon.
eternal-
Clear the moon after you're done.
the eternal version on, because Rerolls the original one, it's actually very underwhelming because you end up just being in an empty ocean eventually. It's like you're picking up small clouds every once in a while. This is like, no, because the eternal version in Katamari Forever, you get to like roll up the Milky Way galaxy eventually. Like you're actually rolling up like whole galaxies. It's like, this feels awesome. Like, but when you're just like the size of like a state, and like basically that's it, and you're like, oh, okay, that. Which I mean, that sounds massive when I say it that way, but I mean, in Katamari senses, that's not a ton. Yeah, because like I don't remember which one it was, but I do remember being like, hey, wasn't I supposed to start like rolling up like countries at this point? Because it actually you'll just roll up like, here's Turkey and here's UK, and you'll just like, even if it's separated, you'll like pick up like if you pick up like Michigan, it has like both the glove and the little spike. Not even attached. Oh man, I love Katamari Logic. It's a good game though. It's really good. So that was a big part of your year. Okay. So Ace, what's your? I'll say next one since you haven't ranked them.
Well, now it's sort of ranked.
Okay. Sure.
I just wanted to get the easy one out of the way.
Sure.
So number 4 would be Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
Okay.
So it was the expanded edition where you get a little bit more backstory for each of the girls through sort of little side stories that you get to play through.
Okay. Now, is it just as creepy and fucked up as the main story, or is it just like, hey, just a little bit more about this character?
It more so goes into like their personalities and stuff like that, and why like the girls have such a bond when you join the literature club.
So legit backstory.
And then, yeah.
Until they're manipulated.
Because in the game you sort of get like little breadcrumbs as to like their personality types and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get too much experience with it. But in the little side stories, you get a little bit more with it before you go and play the creepy, if you so choose to.
Yeah, no, that game. Have you ever seen that game, Sasha? Doki Doki Literature Club.
It's on sale right now. I almost bought it. I was looking at it.
Super creepy. super.
I might. I
Buy
was
it, play it,
specifically
and
looking
then
for creepy games.
buy it.
Yeah, there's. I only
Oh,
watched it on YouTube because I'm not going to play that at all.
come on, 421. Play it.
No, I am not. Although I had. What was the name of that game? I can't remember. It's on my desktop. I'd have to look it up. But there was that dating sim. It was on my list last year. The one
Hmm.
about being at a differently abled school. That one was really good. But like, it was a legit dating sim. It was not creepy. It was not a creepy twist. It was just people learning how to be people. Just sort of like a slice of life thing. And it was actually really poignant and awesome.
So, Sasha, get the game, play it, and then watch the Game Grumps play it because Dan just went through the ringer on that one.
That poor
Okay.
guy. That guy freaked out. He did.
His life changed forever. That's how I was watching a compilation of it, and they put every time like a little bit of foreshadowing would take place, they'd pop up a timer and be like, Dan's life changes in X hours, X minutes, and X seconds.
Oh no. I love that. Oh boy. Okay. So Doki Doki Literature Club. All right. Um so this number 4 for me. I actually very recently played this. I talked about I finished a lot of games recently. This had to go on the list. We actually talked about this a little bit at the Game Awards. And I had it when I hadn't played it until recently, even though I had it during the Game Awards and never touched it. Kennen and the Bridge of Spirits
Hmm.
for the PS5, which was technically an indie game, which because it won Best Indie Game of the Year. Um, it's downright amazing. Like I thought it was just going to straight up be like a platformer, like not necessarily Mario 64, but some of that thing where they try to add more story into platformers. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about? Maybe Ratchet and Clank or something like that along those lines. That's kind of what I was expecting. It's just like, oh, like a light fantasy thing. It's not really that. It's a
Be
lot
right
more
back.
like battle oriented than I thought it was going to be. Platforming is certainly a thing, but it takes a lot. It's a lot more on the both puzzle solving and just combat. And it's very heavy on the story too. And it's actually really cool because the premise is that you are sort of like a sage or a seer or whatever, a very young one, and someone who helps spirits move on, like just move on to the afterlife. And spirits who have become corrupted, you kind of have to fight to sort of like calm them down or whatever. And it's all about a story about how this village who was connected to this mountain shrine started to die. The village just started, it stopped getting, like, the food crops were having troubles. It was hard to get, like, help. It was hard to get food. They're kind of stranded on their own. And so it's a story about the tragedy of the town and the lengths in which the citizens and specifically the leader, the chief of the village, went to sort of save the lives of the tribe and ended up becoming sort of corrupted in the process. And sort of like it's really cool because it's a game about spirituality and healing a lot of the time, even though it's very combat oriented and stuff. It's like very cognizant of people's like stories and feelings and them like sort of moving on and letting go. It was very much about, obviously, about death too, since you're dealing with a lot of spirits. It was very like, it was a lot more in depth on like the emotions than I thought it was going to be. It was really good. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, it was just really good. Like there's it's hard to talk about anything being specific without some heavy spoilers too, because it's just like some of the moments are actually like, holy cow, what happened and how are you fixing this? And it's got some great puzzle solving, and of course it's got these cute little spirit things you collect that help you. They're called rot, which I thought was weird. It's like rot,
Mm.
like something is rotting. Yes, indeed, but little rot spirits. They're just like these derpy little things with these like toothy smiles that are like, "Hey, I'm here to help." And like I said, the combat's really good. It's really in depth. I looked at the viability of platinum the game. It's not that bad. I don't think I will be doing it. But I certainly did some completion aspects. I definitely want to do this just because of the story. I definitely want to, because there's optional places to heal the corruption. Like, you don't have to do it everywhere. I was like, no, I'm going to do that everywhere because I feel like role playing wise, I feel like that's the right thing to do. So it was really cool. It was a really cool, fun game. It wasn't that long either. I don't think it took me less than a week to beat, and
Hmm.
I think the majority of that play was like on Christmas Day. Because even though I had like a crazy like week, like Christmas week and Eve and stuff, like Christmas Day itself specifically was pretty relaxed. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was
Ours was not.
no, because that was the football game, right? That was the day of the game.
Yeah, and we had plans before, during, and after that all got pushed back because of the early plans.
Oh my gosh! I mean, our plans Christmas Day after was to go see Matrix and Spider Man, and we only saw Spider Man because I was like, I am just too emotionally exhausted after Spider Man to stay out another 4 hours for the Matrix and possibly not like it. So I'm just gonna go home because
Just get HBO Max.
I
It's
have
on HBO
HBO.
Max.
I have it. So I will watch it possibly at some point when I'm not catching up on a ton of games. So yeah, Kennen and the Bridge of Spirits. Really cool. I think it's PlayStation 5 exclusive, unfortunately for Sasha. But
Really sound like my style of game,
okay.
but sounds interesting. It sounds like similar themes to Spirit Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit more of like an action platforming version of something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now we will do our honorable mention just to sort of mix it up on the countdown. So Sasha, what quite didn't make your list this year, but you still appreciated?
I'm gonna lump together two games because they're basically. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're basically the same game. They're both Pokemon games.
Sure. Okay.
Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Diamond are getting honorable mentions for me because I have not really like committed. I haven't committed to either game this year. I've sat down, I've played them. I'll like play for a couple of hours and then I won't touch it for
Mm-hmm.
months. I think I haven't played Moon in probably like 4 or 5 months. I think I got my Umbreon and then I saved it and
Mm.
just stopped. Oh no, I also got my Crobat.
Mm.
And then
That 4
I
or 5
just
months
got
is better
Diamond.
than my 4 or 5 years.
Hey, that is what I did though. I got Moon when it first came out. I played for like 4 hours, saved it, shut off my Nintendo DS, put it in a drawer, and didn't touch it for years.
It happens that
Yep.
way sometimes.
Yep. And then I just got Diamond. I haven't really put a ton of time into it. I am working on a Crobat, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
is Crobat one of the ones you have to trade for as well?
no. Crobat has to love you. And then the key to this is also trying to get your Crobat to love you really early, because if it levels up, like it evolves earlier, then it gets that like stat multiplier a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a better Pokemon in the long run, the sooner that it evolves. So I've been babying it. Don't want to let it get knocked out. Keep it in the first slot.
Soothe Bell, if you got it.
I don't have it yet. It's very, very early.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I have one badge. I've just been messing around.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I got the honorable mention. I'm not committed to getting through the game. I'm just messing around for fun.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Ace, what didn't quite hit your top 5 this year?
Well, it's one that actually came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to play it yet. I haven't gotten it yet, but it looks very interesting, just from what I've seen from other YouTubers playing it. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Oh.
Have you seen that one
Another horror game. I've heard of it.
So it's completely different from like the standard Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
Because you're not just sitting in a chair in an office managing vents and lights and stuff like that. You're actually a kid wandering around like a giant mega Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an actual open world-ish building complex that you're walking through.
Okay.
So, I mean, just from the footage that I've seen, it definitely looks very interesting. And Jack was interested in it, and then I started watching stuff on it, and I'm like, but now I want to play it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't need you to play it. I'll play it. You can watch me.
Oh boy, that's hilarious. Okay, so did you put a lot of time into it in the short amount of time it's been out?
I haven't played it yet.
Oh.
But
okay.
But I very much want to, and it looks very good. I will also note that they automated a lot of the things. So there's even like wet floor sign robots that have little derpy heads that like follow you, and they make like almost like a buzzing noise. And then there's also like security, like general security bots that just loop around. But there's one type of it that's called a map bot, and it'll jump scare the shit out of you and be like, "Take a map." And then apparently, my coworker Jaden told me that if you don't take the map, it'll just follow you around holding out a map, being like, "Take a map, take a map."
I could see how that could be scary.
And it just won't leave you until you take the map.
Interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I hadn't looked into this one. You know, I knew Five Nights from Freddy's from like the YouTube scene that it had, especially when it first came out. Actually, a bit of a funny story with that. So when we were in the hospital for Cece being born in 2014 is really when that hit. October time 2014 is like a kind of like the height of the early buzz for that game, if I remember correctly. And we got back after the hospital, which was like, I felt like a year between me going in and coming out of that hospital because I think I've told you before, but Cece was a 65-hour labor. So like we were in the hospital for like
several days,
3 days solid. Like it was bad. So we came back, and I don't know if you remember the Completionist, but like that's when his original partner, the Completionist, left, and everyone was doing Five Nights at Freddy's, and like my whole gaming world on YouTube flipped upside down when I like between in that week that like it felt like that I was gone. I was just like, what
Hmm.
went on? And everyone was playing Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was like, what is this game? And then, of course, I guess it was based on like the real Chuck E. Cheese murders that sort of happened. So like, it was like, oh no, like what is going on here? So it was, yeah, it was like it was crazy. So yeah, so what was it called? After party? No, it's some
Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
security breach. I don't know what after party is. That might be a Sims pack that I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
So okay, security breach, and you actually, and I like how they're changing up the gameplay too. Because honestly, I would never play Five Nights at Freddy's the standard way, like the old games were. Because I was like, that doesn't look fun.
Yeah,
That looks like just stress
yeah,
on a
because they're
stick. It's just no.
yeah you're in first person as like a 10-year-old boy or something like that. Um, and Freddy is sort of like your companion through the game, and he
Hmm.
actually has like a chest bay that opens up that you can hide in to avoid certain like characters and stuff like that. Um,
Like the duck or whatever her name is.
there's a chicken Chica,
Chica. There you go.
but there is a far creepier, I would say,
The
character that
fox.
they added to the game.
Oh.
No, there is a Sun and Moon character that is like the animatronic of the daycare,
Hmm.
and there is a horrible sequence that you have to go through with that.
Hmm. I might do the
And
usual thing with this and look at it on YouTube.
mhm,
Cause not my kind of thing.
yeah, he's got like a really sinister sounding voice that gets sort of like that warbly electronic noise.
Oh, okay. Okay. Huh. Okay, so security breach. What is this on that you're going to be playing it on?
It's on PS5 and I'm pretty sure Xbox and PC and everything else pretty much.
Okay, so all the powerful modern systems. Is it on Switch or no?
Hmm. I'm not sure. I haven't been on the eShop in a while.
Okay. I was on the eShop a lot. I got a lot of eShop cards for Christmas. I'm not kidding. Like I ended
Nice.
up buying Talisman, the digital edition, and all the expansions. That was fun. I love playing board games digitally. It makes things so much faster.
I mean, yeah, Monopoly is a breeze sometimes.
Oh yeah, I love Monopoly on the Switch. Um, I hate playing it in person because the money handling is just a nightmare. But
Hmm.
okay, so as I said, for my honorable mentions, I have three because I just could not fit all the ones, but I'm only going to talk about one, and I'm going to rant about one. Reason why I won't talk about the other two, there's not much to say as to why I hate them, other than it's pretty quick. Naruto Boy, the biggest piece of shit game I have ever played in my life. Um, if you want to hear my opinions on it in a longer form, we did a Bickering Bucks episode on this thing. I think it's our worst rated Bickering Bucks game, it probably ever in the history of the show, and it happened this year. It is literally the episode is called Retrograding Fun. It is a retro style castle Metroidvania, except it has none of the cool things of a Metroidvania. It just has all the backtracking with terrible combat and no upgrading at all. Like it's a shit show of a game. I'm sorry to the developers if
A
they really put a lot of heart and soul into this, but do better. Like it was bad. um
couple weeks after the episode, Sasha, I sent 420 a link to Limited Run because they they released a Naruto Boy series stuff.
oh
I was like, hey, you can get this.
no. No. The other one is Just Cause 4. I love the Just Cause series. Just Cause 3.
Don't you mean just because?
Yeah, just cause. Just cause. Um, I loved 2 and 3. They changed everything about 4. None of the fun just roaming around and blowing shit up is there. It's all mission now. And I'm like, "Oh no. Oh, I don't like this at all." And despite it being me playing the PlayStation 4 game on PS5, the load times were still atrocious. Like 5-6 minutes to start up the game. Like I am, and that's what I hated about 3. So yeah, just no, don't. Just Cause 4 sucks, and I'm sorry. And the last one is actually, in truth, normally a decent game, but it caused me to have such a freaking headache and a rant over it. And this is the one that I am going to stick on today, which, I'm sorry, Ace, I'm going to say it. Monster Hunter Stories 2. The protagonist is such a douchebag that I cannot stand it. I cannot. The cat talking for you, like everything about that. The protagonist not talking and the cat talking for you, and you just smiling and nodding like a stupid idiot in the game all the time. I think I might have, Sasha, you might have heard this before, but what?
Fortwan, if you don't have donuts, how do you not go nuts?
You know what? This game did make me go nuts. And then I had to go get some donuts to calm myself down, because the lack of social skills that your character has is just insane. And it made me angry at the end of the game. Very angry when your character audibly speaks the name Ratha. Like it's supposed to be some glorious thing that he finally says his name. He's like, Ratha. And it's like, you could talk the whole time? What the fuck? You're just an asshole.
They do that just to make it more relatable to you.
I hate it.
It may or may not be a bad decision, but
I hate it.
It's what they chose to do. And they did that in the first game too.
I know they did, and I hated it then. And of course, then there's all this Twitter stuff, and we will get. We're not going to get into it, but then all the stuff about the eggs came because of this game. So, Sasha, you probably have no idea what we're talking about when we talk about eggs, but there's
I saw that. I saw that the other day in the chat. I'm like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Decided to end 2021.
Oh my gosh! So, okay, Monster Hunter has this race of people called the Wyverians, right? Supposedly descendants from wyverns. And they are the quintessential, essentially, elves in the series. So they are very humanoid, except for the fact they have 3 fingers and they have hooves. That's like the only difference. Otherwise, and pointed ears. They look like elves.
Hooves/clawed feet.
Yeah. They're not, obviously not humans, but they're extremely humanoid. And then someone on Twitter, I think it was Bandlegiacris, just started, or if he wasn't the originator, he was very close to the originator of this question, is like, do they lay eggs or give live birth? And it became a thing. Like, it became like a thing because people want to waifu the Wyverians for some reason.
This sounds like Argonian stuff as well.
Yeah.
Celestia Argonian maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, a lot of people are like, why are we doing this? And some people are like, but my waifu, I can't, but I want to imagine that we're not. And then some people are assuming they breed like fish for some reason, I guess, now. And it's just like, why are we getting into this?
That one, that's hilarious.
And I'm like,
but what if they're like a platypus and it, like, you expect it's an egg, but it's live birth, right?
Maybe? Yeah.
I think so.
What if they reproduce like a sponge by budding? You just get a smaller.
a
You know what?
smaller you just butting off of your shoulder and eventually it just falls off and that's your kid.
But going back to the fish thing, now are they like little tiny eggs that they're just gonna like spread out and wait to be fertilized, or do they just lay like a couple of large eggs?
I went down the dark side of this theory in my head, and I was like, what if they do give birth by eggs? But the eggs are the dango that our characters have been eating the whole time.
The
And now that you said
dango
the fish,
at rise, yeah.
because you said the fish eggs, and the fish eggs are normally like very spherical. What if the dango that we eat is actually the eggs?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about that question, Ace. I have no words for the darkness that has befallen this idea that is like right at the end of the year for the Monster Hunter community. I just don't know. I don't have answers for people. I just
love it because of how out of nowhere it was. Just ending the year with this completely nonsensical topic.
Still going on too. There's still stuff about it today. It's not even meme stuff. It's people legit arguing over it. Like, okay, if that's you be you, like whatever. But honestly, no. This game, as much as I actually like this game, that aspect of it just infuriates me. Your silent, not so silent protagonist. So there you go. So that's oh wait. Those are my dishonorable mentions. I flipped it on accident. I'll do my honorable mentions later. I did it wrong. I read it wrong because I had it written down differently on my list. Oops! So there you go. So number 3 for you, Sasha.
Okay. Number 3 is probably not a very popular game, but I did play it a lot. Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, wow.
I finally came back to it I played it in January and February of 2021. I finally went back to it. I think I can appreciate it now, kind of with lowered expectations going back to it.
It reminds me of that Mad TV thing where it's the Mad TV dating thing. Did you ever see that skit? It's called Lowered Expectations. It's like all these dating profiles. Like you used to do the dating videos. Like, hi, this is me. I feel like
I have seen that.
Yeah, and it's like the tagline of it is Lowered Expectations.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So that's pretty much my experience with Andromeda. Mm-hmm. I will say on the positive side of it, it's just like Mass Effect 3. So mechanically, it is a sound game. Sure. I must have played it after a lot of patches and things went into it because I really didn't run into any problems.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems on launch. Like when I remember.
I remember because I was a pre-order of this game, and I had like a real derpy looking character.
Yeah.
So it got fixed. I will say that I had loaded up a game that I had maybe 30 hours in already. I loaded that up, and the face was fixed. So yeah, it looked like a normal Mass Effect NPC looking face. So I was satisfied with that. Okay. Another, I will say, positive of this is that for people who do play BioWare games, for the main reason you play a BioWare game, the romance. Mm-hmm. I will say that my favorite romance in the Mass Effect series came from Andromeda, and this comes from a person who loved Garrus and has played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 multiple times, loving Garrus, but there's a very there's a very steamy romance with one of the. It's actually not one of your party members. It's an NPC, part of the storyline. And if you play as a female character, you can unlock then this like romance piece. And I loved it. I was excited about it. I didn't play any of the multiplayer. I was happy to find that there's really not any multiplayer exclusive achievements. They're either or achievements. So, like, do this in single player or do this in multiplayer to unlock the same achievement. So,
that's good.
Yeah, I didn't have to be frustrated with the like micro transactions and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's surprising because I remember when that game came out, I heard nothing but bad things on every podcast I was listening to at the time. Like, everyone was just dogging on it constantly.
I was not happy with it. I dealt with it. I think what I ended up doing in the beginning was just turning my helmet on so that I didn't have to look at my weird face.
So you took my Stories 2 approach. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I feel like I just got to a certain point where I didn't feel invested because there is no shepherd. There's none of the characters that you loved about the series. It's just the world that they built and rolling with it. So then going back in with, again, like those lowered expectations, like I'm just going to play a Mass Effect game, but I'm not playing Commander Shepard, and that's fine.
Okay. All right. So Andromeda, that's a surprising one to have on your number 3, nonetheless.
I did enjoy it. Coming back to it, I'll say that I ended up 100%ed the game in like the single player mode. Like did all the exploration, got all of the colonies all built up. So I didn't do it because I didn't like the game.
Okay. All right. So number 3 for you, Ace?
Number 3 for me would be Hades.
Oh, that's a solid one. That is good.
Yeah, I really got into it after having bought it and then not played it for a month or two. Or actually, I played it a little bit and then I put it down. And then I eventually got back into it and started actually digging into the game and getting through runs and getting more of the story and learning about each of the characters.
I have re-downloaded it. I don't think I've picked it up since I re-downloaded it because I was like, all right, I kind of want to do all the endgame stuff now. But then again, I started playing a bunch of things I haven't played to begin with. So, brand new games. So, yeah. So what's been your favorite weapon so far?
The spear, I would say.
Sure.
The spear is like my easiest one to get through, and it's got, I would say, the best amount of reach for the amount of strikes you can get in.
As much as I don't like guns and gunning, I think the giant gun one is the one I ended up doing the best with.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a successful run with each of the weapons, but yeah, the spear is definitely my go-to.
Well, I think all of my weapons are like heat 3 or above, maybe 4 or whatever. And I just like, I don't know. I like the game quite a bit. I like the combat. So yeah, like, so when did you play this year? Like,
it's been sporadic. I mean, I think like 2 or 3 months ago was my main solid chunk that I played through a bunch of it. I hate the second to last area you have to go through, or third, the Elysium area or whatever.
Oh yeah, the one where you have to
like
fight
Cloud,
the Minotaur at the end. Yeah,
I hate the area just because of the grunts in that area.
It's a little rough.
So fucking annoying. Like the difference between them and like the volcano area is like I feel such a stark jump in difficulty at
Yeah.
certain points.
The chariots can fuck you up. Like
Oh yeah, the
if you're
chariots are annoying. The spear and arrow and sword guys, they're all annoying in that area.
mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fucking butterfly balls.
Yeah. Yeah, the butterfly balls are insanely difficult. If you let them like stay around a while, it's just too much to deal with.
Despise it.
Okay. But still a really solid game, and you're number 3. Okay.
Yeah, I also like it when you first get to like the final area where you have to cross the bridge and Cerberus is there and Zagreus is just like, oh no, not this. I'm just like, I don't want to fight the dog, and then you don't have to, and I'm like, oh thank goodness.
Nice. Um, I'm looking something up for the next one I'm going to talk about. Okay. So, my number 3 is something I did on Bickering Bucks. So we did a lot of good games this year on this show. But I'm a big first person shooter fan, especially when it comes to single player stuff. Multiplayer stuff I like too. So like Call of Duty, but not as much. Um, Doom, obviously I talk about that a lot, but Ghost Runner was a game that I've been wanting to play for a long time. Finally got to play it, loved it. I love Ghost Runner quite a bit. It's not as much as a shooter as it is your first person sword fighter, but everyone else has bullets. So you just sort of gotta get in there and get out. The gameplay is amazing. It's very kinetic. It's very quick. So like a lot of games, it's like, oh crap, I died. Okay, I gotta wait for the loading screen. Da da da. It's like if you die in Ghost Runner, you hit continue, you're immediately going again. You can actually just like visually not hit the death screen. Like you died, hit the button, you're back to running. Like the death to returning, which was really cool, which is 100% what killed Returnal for me this year. Remember that on PS5? Like a lot of people really like that game, and I was like, I can't handle it, like because it's like you die and you watch this cutscene, and then you possibly have to watch a second cutscene, and then which you can skip, but the skipping takes like 5 seconds to hold in the button, and then you got to do it twice, and then you got to go back through the beginning area, and you got to go back to where you don't get to. But it's like it's a different kind of game. It's a run game, so you got to go back from the beginning and build up again. Yada yada. Ghost Runner was just straight up like get through the room, checkpoint, like a story game. And it was pretty fairly linear, but inside the rooms it was different ways to complete the room. Essentially, you just kill all the enemies and get out. And you had some cool special abilities, but what really sold this game for me was the soundtrack. Like, really much so. And why I pulled up my phone, I don't know if you can see it. I own the freaking soundtrack. I bought it, and it is on my regular playlist. Half of the songs are on my regular playlist on my phone. Like, and even just the names of the song, I love. Infiltrator, Blood and Steel, Forget the Past, Access Denied, Sector, Factory, Celerity, The Orb, Truth to Power, Razor, Vendetta. Vendetta's such a cool song. And it's just like, there's these, I like dance, I like that kind of electric stuff, but there's something about the way that, and by the way, the artist's name is Daniel Deluxe. I love that name for a guy who does video game music. Daniel Deluxe. I loved this game. I loved the music. I would be sitting here as I played it on PC, and I think it is on Xbox and PS4, I think. And I'll be sitting here like this, like going around with the music. I'm just like, yeah, I'm loving this, and like oh man, it was such an experience. it was wow. Yeah, chat was like, "Hey, I don't know how the Twitch link worked, but it did because I did misspell Twitch." That is an interesting insight. Anyways, um, so anyways, yeah, Ghost Runner was a game that I loved this year. Like it was, I still listen to music constantly. Not like yeah, it's mixed in with my other music a lot of time, but like if I needed to just sit here and just be doing some menial work, I will put this CD on like 100%. Like just go at it. And then the game itself was really cool. They right after I finished the game announced a Ghost Runner 2, and I was like 100% fuck yes. Like I'm doing yes. Give me more. Give me more Daniel Deluxe, give me more Ghost Runner, give it all. Like I am down. So yeah, Ghost Runner number 3.
Nice.
All right. So number 2, Sasha.
Number 2 for me is The Outer Worlds.
Okay.
I played it through twice, I think, this year. I played it through on normal and on hard. I've not really brought myself to start Supernova. I know I'm gonna get angry. And I don't have enough time to play video games to get angry while I'm playing video games. So
Fair.
I have a whole strategy in mind. I just know I'm gonna get mad, so I haven't done it yet.
So refresh my memory just for my own. Is this the one where they have the satirical like company, like you work for a company out in the space frontier?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically Borderlands, but fuck capitalism. Where Borderlands is like, we love capitalism. It's the best thing ever. Outer Worlds was supposed to be like New Vegas in space. So I will say that upon initial playing the game, I was upset. It was not what it was built up to be in my heart, and in my mind's eye. But it is a really fun game. I had a hell of a time playing it on hard. I felt like really clever a lot of the time. So I speech challenged my way through a lot of shit. Because I did not play a character that was very combat oriented.
Sure.
In fact, if I got caught, I would die almost immediately in a lot of the big battles. So that's why I know Supernova is going to piss me off, because I have a similar strategy for Supernova, but I can't play with any of my followers because they're on permadeath in Supernova, and I can't have them get me caught.
Giant mantis monsters on that one planet.
Mantisaurs? Yeah. Those are that was pretty sweet. I liked that.
This is another one of the games that I'm just like, I want to play. I want to get to it. I just haven't yet.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it in terms of it's basically just a shooter with some skill tree. Well, not really like a skill tree, but like
abilities,
some RPG elements. Yeah, choose what you're gonna do. I will say my first run through was like a run and gun, playing it on normal, and it was very, very easy. And then when I played through on hard, I did like high intelligence and charisma, like all the speech and sneak style stuff, and did a lot more exploration and digging through the game and playing it in a much different way. And it was a lot harder, but I think a little bit more rewarding. By the time I made it to the end of the game, I finished the last mission without drawing my weapon. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was fun. I really liked it. I also loved the DLC because I felt like the DLC was a nice break away from the typical style of the game. Like one of them's a murder mystery, which is really cool. So it really paid off to play that one on my hard run through because my character had all the beefy charisma, speechcraft skills. So I was able to do that one. I don't think that I would get the canon ending if I played it on normal. My character is stupid and doesn't have any people skills. Yeah. And then the other DLC it is very heavy in the shooting elements, but also has like a nice mystery family drama. It's like it has like a soap opera kind of feel to it, or like noir-ish. It's very cool, and it opens up the planets that were locked in the initial part of the game.
Okay.
So I highly recommend the game to anybody who likes shooters or RPGs.
And it's on my list. It has been purchased. It is just sitting on my computer, waiting to play. Like I said, I think right now I am working on Bloodstained. I have a literal stack of games, which when I finish it, I move it to the other stack. And like this Christmas season, I have moved over 3 games. 3? Yeah, 3 games that I have beaten 100%. One of them, which I tried, and I was like, nope, not for me. I am going to wait till there is a Dragon Age Remaster for all 3 of those games now.
Oh man, just the idea of a Dragon Age Remaster gives me warm, fuzzy feelings.
I would 100% play it. I think I legit would be a fan of these games if I could stand A, Dragon Age Origins crashing, and then B, Inquisition. I can't. The aesthetics have just blown me away from that game. I'm gone. Like, I missed the boat on that one. I was just like, nope, I can't take it. It is that hardcore, like, we are trying to be realistic, and it is failing hard. Like, like, I'm sorry, Inquisition. But yeah, Outer Worlds is on my short list to play on the PC. So, I don't know. I may not finish Bloodstained. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is what I'm working on now, the sort of Castlevania one. And it's just, I don't know, it's not clicking with me. But then I'm gonna do Far Cry Blood Dragon because I finally got that, and then I think I'll probably do Outer Worlds next because I really do need to get something. I need to get some of these games off my list and stop going back to something like Titan Quest for like the billionth time, even though there is a new expansion which I haven't got to play the content for, but I just don't have a character that far yet. So yeah, it's just, yeah. So, Outer Worlds. And what's the name of the expansion?
There's Murder on, I'm going to butcher it, Arenados, I think. Something like that. Which is one of the planets. And then the other one's the Gorgon one. Which
Terror
is...
on Gorgon?
Terror on Gorgon, yes. Which I also really love. I always screen grab the loading screens for Outer Worlds, and those are my my wallpaper on my Xbox because they're like noir science fiction, like pulp posters. Sure. It's so cool. Okay. Like my Star Trek right here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So number 2, Ace.
Number 2 is actually a number 3.
Okay.
Can you guess it?
Actually, number 3, because I'm confused. But you're saying Rise is your actual number 2?
No.
No, he's saying that's the third entry in a series.
Oh, number 3. Yes. It is the third entry in a series. I mean, is it going to be The Last of Us 2?
No.
Because I would consider the standalone game between The Last of Us 1 and 2. But no, 3.
Should be pretty obvious.
Well, I was going to say Dead Space, but that's not true. I know you love that.
Yeah, I haven't played that in a while.
I don't know, man.
It's
Oh,
Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
no, you're right. Yeah, we even talked about it just now. I like once I said no, I don't know. I immediately nope. No, you do know it. It is 3 Ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been playing through it here and there throughout the year, and I've been enjoying just going back and playing the older game.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a lot less tedious on a controller than it is on a 3DS, but I do have
Mm-hmm.
a 3D printed grip for my 3DS, so that's made going back
Oh,
and playing some 4 Ultimate easier.
it being on a Wii U is 100% why I will go back to that game and will never go back to 4 Ultimate because I do not want to touch my 3DS in any way again. I hate that
What if
system.
I
Like
what if I buy you a grip?
I love the Switch. The Switch hands down has been my favorite console since it came out. 3DS can go die in a fire. I hate holding that system. Oh man.
It's my Pokemon machine. It is the only thing I played on 3DS.
Pokemon and Monster Hunter are the only things that touched my 3DS. Outside of when I very first got it, I got Super Mario 3D Land when it came out. That was it. Oh wait, no. Also had Fossil Fighters, and I love Fossil Fighters. Fossil Fighters is a Pokemon clone where you genetically alter dinosaurs, like Jurassic Park. And instead of catching Pokemon, you dig up fossils, and depending on how well you dig the fossil, you get a better statted, like better IV dinosaur. It's actually really cool. I really like it.
Hmm.
So, anyways, 3 Ultimate. Lots of cool things about 3 Ultimate. Again, there's so many games I wish had a remaster because they're so good. Unfortunately, I don't think
I
Monster
just
Hunters
want
are
them
ever
to.
going to get remastered.
I just want them to remaster the entire series or release
An
a giant ass
anthology.
game that just has like every single town and map in the world.
Wow.
It'd be
Like put it
awesome.
all in one game, like an MMO.
Hmm. Have it be
Okay.
almost like a fusion between like Witcher, Skyrim, and Monster Hunter Rise.
You mean Elder Scrolls Online?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Well,
Yeah.
Capcom at least does their games pretty well. I think they'd be able to
Yeah,
handle it if they
but
went for.
making something an MMO is like way different. Now, I would prefer just straight up remasters if they could. Um,
Hmm.
but them fixing stuff like hitboxes is going to be like a big, I don't know, to do. Not that it isn't technically possible, but it does greatly alter the play experience of the game. Like,
Right.
a lot of people had trouble going back to Generations Ultimate from World. Like, Generations Ultimate to World was like, it was a big step up. So when you go take a step back, and 3 Ultimate, like I said, quality of life wise, oof. Way oof. Like, I have like there's so many things that are just I take for granted in Monster Hunter these days, like item loadouts. So get this, Sasha. This game really wants you to take your own healing and like items and that kind of stuff. You have an inventory, you prepare, you take the stuff with you because once you're on a mission, you can make more, but like it's generally you just take that stuff with you. Item sets are this thing. You go up to the box, you say, I'm going to use item set 1. It throws everything that's not in that set in the inventory and pulls everything that's in your set into your inventory. Basically, like a 3-button push, everything's sorted, organized, you're done. Does not exist in 3 Ultimate. Not a thing. You have to manually go in and menu everything in and out on this game. And it's got like an animation time on putting stuff in and out. And it's just going backwards in this series is so infuriating.
It's not that bad. Come on.
It's a great game. I can't disagree. But the quality of life is infuriating to me.
You've been too spoiled.
Yes. And I like it that way. Oh, man. But yeah, 3 Ultimate is a solid game. I did play that some with you and with Joy-Con J, who we had on a couple weeks ago. We did play a little bit with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still got to get me through G rank and get on to Abyssal Lagai, Chris, and all the other elders in the end of the game.
Okay. We do. We do. I'd like to actually complete every quest on that game like I thought I had, and apparently had not. So we'll get there. I just, it's going to be a crazy work week again. I'm going to be at the nuclear plant by myself for the company because Dad and Chance are in Kentucky doing this other job we've been wiring for all week. So I get to go on a nuclear site by myself and teach people how to download something because I'm not allowed to do it myself. I have to tell people how to download software. That's how this has to go.
Nice.
Yep. This is my work week coming up, and it's going to be like 8 hours every day of me sitting there telling a person how to do a job.
Ooh, Sasha. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is on sale for $16 right now on the eShop.
I feel like you guys just made a really strong case for why I should start with not
Rise.
that one in the series.
Yeah, start with Rise. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we want a hooker, let's stick with Rise. We got.
But that one's also fun because you've got all the skills and extra bonuses that you can do. I forget what they're called.
The Hunter Arts.
Yes, that.
And the Hunter Styles, yes. It's a very different game, yes. So 3 Ultimate is your number 2 for the year. So lots of Monster Hunter on Ace's list. So where is Monster Hunter Rise for you? Are you gonna wait to reveal that, or is it number 1 for you?
No, it was number 5.
Okay, but it wasn't ranked when you said it.
Yeah, so I had my 4, and then I have that as just like it's automatically going to be on the list.
Okay.
Like pretty much any Monster Hunter game that comes out in that year is going to be on the list.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
so
no.
I would reserve slot 5 as the spot.
Okay, because my number 2, because I did 100% rank this, is Monster Hunter Rise. My number 2 is Rise. So we don't have to talk about that. We talked about Rise with your number 5. Yeah, Rise is an amazing game. Hopefully Sasha gets into it. Hopefully we can convince her.
Maybe.
That's why I said hopefully. It is. I am learning. I am learning as a person that it is okay that someone may not like Monster Hunter. I have never gotten angry at someone for not liking Monster Hunter, but at the same time,
I've never tried it, so I don't have an opinion. So
right. Okay, so we are to what were supposed to be the dishonorable mentions, but I was a goofus and did it in the honorable mention slot. So your guys' dishonorable mentions, and then my honorable mentions, and then number 1.
I just have one dishonorable mention.
Okay.
And it's Gems of War.
I understand.
Like
I understand this, yes. I did play that this year too.
It's like my crack. It filled like a void that WoW left, like this like weird like addiction that I have for games. This one, I don't know why. No, I do know why. My job is to study behavior. I 100% know why what this game is doing to me on like a behavioral, mental level.
Yeah.
But here's why it's on my dishonorable mention. Number 1 on that, and only entry on the list, is I came back to Gems of War after not playing for like a year. I was in like a guild that was super, super serious about everything. Like you've got to get the max seals every week, and you've got to do your towers, and you've got to do whatever the events were. And then I ended up quitting because I
too much
just was
pressure.
tired of gems being a job.
Yeah.
Like just want to log in, play for 20 minutes, not, oh, I've got to put like an hour and a half in every day or I get kicked out of my guild.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit the guild and then I just I deleted the game and I didn't play. So I came back in a month ago to play. There's so much more content, which that's nice to see. But what I can't stand is all the constant alerts and pop-ups for all of the shit that they want you to buy. The game is free. So leave me alone. I have more than enough content to play before you need to nickel and dime me for things. Stop telling me that this is free. Or that this I can get this for only 99 cents and $9.99 and $24.99. And then there's this new thing called the Shrine of Cunning. And every time that you beat a level or you do a treasure chest thing and you get any kind of gold, it gives you your gold, and then it also puts some of it into the shrine. And then when you fill the shrine, you can buy that gold for $9.99, and that resets every week. Which I don't need that. I play as like rogue class, so I'm raking in the gold, and I played the shit out of this game, so I've got all my kingdoms up past level 10. I'm bringing in a bunch of gold. I don't need this. But the alert never goes away. It's like having emails or like text messages on your phone and then not checking it. Just leaving the notification on always. And it bothers me so much. So
Yeah.
So that's why.
I understand that. I'm one of those people, my email is spotless. Everything is read, everything is organized, and if it's not needed, it's deleted. Like,
exactly.
So I understand this problem. Like,
yes.
Oh man. And I have learned to, because I'm in a couple discords that I don't follow a lot of the chattering going on, that I will just periodically right click it and say all are read. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see the little white mark next to that little channel. It's all, I've read it all. I didn't, but I've read it all. Because I don't like seeing that notification there. Yeah, I get it. I played a lot of Gems of War myself. I was not to your level. But I did install it on Steam, and I was playing it on my computer for a while listening to podcasts or something. Because I normally have a game that I like to try to play while I'm listening to a podcast. And while I've been playing...
Also mine.
Yeah. And while I've been playing... I've been playing Jurassic World Evolution 2. That's been the case because I don't need... Because if it's not a lot of dialogue and you don't need to pay attention a lot to what's going on other than visually, then it's perfect for a podcast game. So Jurassic World has taken that up for me so far. But I am hitting a tipping point with Jurassic World where I am going to be putting that down. And we are doing that for Bickering Bucks too. So like, but I have hit the amount of content I need to talk about the game. And I think there's like, I'm not going to 100% this game because like it's gotten too hard. It's like a tornado comes in and it wrecks the whole park, and I go into a $2 million debt and I have to reload the save. And it's just like, it's not worth it at this point to keep playing. Like I'm just hoping I don't get a tornado every 15 minutes or something. Like it's just, there's so many damn tornadoes in Jurassic World for some reason. I don't know why.
There's an act of God telling you to stop messing with DNA of dinosaurs.
I know. The current mission is to... The current story mission in the game right now is to create the Indominus Rex. Like, I am currently trying to do the bad genetics right now. And then it's just like, no, your whole park is lost. You're in debt. It is unrecoverable. Goodbye. I'm like, jeez, game. Jeez, why are you doing this? Okay, so Gems of War, dishonorable mention. Ace, what is your dishonorable mention?
I technically don't have one because generally when I game, I go for stuff that I'm interested in and know that I'll usually like. So I usually don't play anything that I end up disliking.
Sure, that's fair. That can happen.
But yeah,
Um,
that's. I had a hard time coming up with like more than just Gems of War pissing me off for the same reason.
Yeah, I
mhm.
mean, you can be a responsible consumer and know about your product beforehand. Unlike me, yes, you can totally be that way, and that's fine. So I will now do my honorable mentions because I screwed up and did my dishonorable mentions. Um, the first two, um, again, I covered my opinions on these on Bickering Bucks. They're great. I love them. Go play them. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. Um, Sasha, I know you don't have you just got the Switch not that long ago. If you're familiar with Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors is a Legend of Zelda spin-off of it. And Age of Calamity is another spin-off of that spin-off of the Zelda Samurai Warriors that is actually canon to the story apparently and is really cool. Has a really cool like emotional beats. Um it's got a time travel story kind of thing. I mean, Zelda's not unknown for time travel, but I love there's a fact a part in the game where the Zoras, which are the fish people, like it's like you're gonna lose, like someone's gonna die, and in the Breath of the Wild storyline, it is known that certain characters died because you jump forward and you learn about how they die in Breath of the Wild. Well, Age of Calamity is like playing the timeline that you skipped, essentially. So you get to play the missions or whatever that these people died. And then they throw a wrench in that and they say, guess what? They actually lived. And here's how. And it's actually a really cool way that they did it. And one of them is Mifa, who's the Zora. Her younger brother from the future pops in, and his name's Sidon, and he just out of nowhere, and I called it Suddenly Sidon because it made me think of Suddenly Seymour. It's like Suddenly Sidon. And the way he comes in, he's got the cheesy smile, like a twinkle on his teeth and stuff, like super like flashy and stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's such a fun game. Of course, it's the Dynasty Warriors style of combat, killing thousands of enemies with combos and stuff. It's really cool. Metroid Dread. Also, just recently did a Bickering Bucks for this. Metroid Dread's a really awesome game. Now, Metroid's usually a pretty awesome series. Metroid Dread was amazing. I don't need to say too much about that. We also did Bickering Bucks on that. The one I want to talk about is another one that I finished within this Christmas break since we've talked, called Cronus Before the Ashes. And there's a game that was on PS4 and Xbox called Remnant from the Ashes. It is a prequel to Remnant. Now, Remnant is like a co-op buddy, like survival first person or third person shooter thing. This is a Dark Souls clone, and I was not expecting that at all. This is like a weird Dark Souls like game. And it does it in a really weird way because Dark Souls is known for having like you kill something, you get like soul energy, and soul energy is not only your currency but also how you level up. It's like everything. And you die, it drops on the ground, and you go get it. Or if you die before you go get it, you lose it all. So it's got this risk reward mechanic. And of course, it's known for being hard and having difficult bosses and only limited healing and yada yada. Well, it's kind of like that, except no currency, and you level up just like a traditional RPG. Kill monsters, you level up, you get experience. There's no mechanic like that. It's like here's all this innovation that Dark Souls did to make a pseudo, like a very stressful, difficult game, and let's pull back the stress and difficulty just a little bit as far as the mechanics go. Like execution wise, still pretty difficult, but like take those mechanics and make them more traditional RPG. You're finding weapons, you're upgrading weapons just the same as you would in Dark Souls. It's just really weird. It's like a really weird like half step back from a Dark Souls game to like a more traditional RPG. And it's actually really cool. It's got a cool story. It's like humanity is decimated by this dragon and your mission is to kill the dragon. And you are an 18-year-old man or woman, whichever you choose. And when you die, you get kicked out of the world that you're trying to save. You get kicked out because you have to go through this like warp stone to get to the dragon because you got to go kill him in his world or whatever. And you get kicked out and you come back a year later. So the cool thing about this game is you die, you don't necessarily die, you just get kicked out, but you're a year older. So you progressively age every time you die. So my character was 64 when I beat the game. And every 10th year starting at 20, because you start at age 18, you get a new perk or ability to make the game easier instead of harder. Because a Dark Souls thing would make it harder. This game just trying to make it easier. And it also has this thing where traditional RPG, you put stuff into stats. So you got strength, dex, vitality, and arcane. So magic, right? Well, when you're younger, the points to the level up points, you get 2 level up points. Strength, dex, and vitality are worth 1 point. As you get older, they get more expensive. But as you get older, arcane gets less expensive. So it's actually a really cool, like, it's dealing a lot with age. And I was like, I've never seen a game do that. And that's why it's called Cronus. Part of it. And it's a fun game. It's really good fantasy elements to it, too. Difficult fights. Like, even lower level enemies are pseudo dangerous. At the end of the game, I only had 4 healing potions at a time. And unlike Dark Souls, like where you hit the camp and it's like, hey, all your health stuff is refueled. No. Your health stuff doesn't refuel until you die. So, like, if you're like, if you use your, like, you get fucked up by an early enemy and you're like, I'm trying to progress, you're like, you're probably just going to die.
So you kind of have to make choices then. Like,
yeah.
decide, is it worth saving your health flasks to progress further, or just die, restart, it's easier, get all your stuff refreshed.
Right. And this was another one I was considering 100% achievements until I read the one that said beat the game before the age of 21. I was like, so die 3 times or less. No thanks. I'm not doing that. I was like, nope. No, I'm not doing that. Because I did play this on the hardest difficulty as well. I don't know what got in me to just immediately put this Dark Souls-ish game at the hardest difficulty when I played it. But yeah, so that's my honorable mention. Because it was a solid game. I think right after Kennen, that's the game I started. So I beat Kennen. And then, like, that night I started Cronus. And then 3 days later I beat Cronus. Like, it wasn't super long. It was really fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I might actually play through Cronus again. Like, I might actually... It's cool because there's all sorts of different weapons you can play with. There's a flail. You don't see a flail a lot in games. But it's like a futuristic flail where it looks like a mace at first, but when you swing it, the head comes off the stick and the chain was coiled up inside. So it swings out and swings back, kind of like a flail whip. It's actually really cool. But I ended up
It's highly dangerous.
Yeah, but it's a game, so you don't hurt yourself because it was actually really cool, and you have to like jump between timelines too, because like one of the areas it's like, hey, you're in like this enchanted forest with all these satyrs and stuff, and it's like, okay, of course the satyrs are all evil and try to kill you, and they're difficult to kill, but you find this expedition camp of humans from a long time ago, and it's like you found this weird plastic card. Huh. The elders talked something about this, and it's actually the access key card to like the decrepit building that you have to be to get to. You have to actually progress through the game, go back into like the real world, and swipe your access card at this like hospital to open up a door. And it's actually really cool. It's like, why would he be in that one hospital? It's very weird that one access card would work, but whatever. It's a game. It's the only access card in the game, so it's got to work. It was cool. I liked it a lot. I liked the sort of step back from the Dark Souls formula, but still keeping within that sort of Dark Souls mentality. Because that is a frustrating thing to just sort of lose progress like you do in Dark Souls. Now, to be fair, I know that if you die enough times that there is a perk at the level at the age of 80. I didn't get that far, thankfully. But I don't know if it just stops aging you at some point or if it stops mattering. Like, I don't know if you can get to 100 or not. So that would be a concern. But I mean, I did beat it at age, I think it was 64 or 61, on the hardest difficulty. So I'm not too worried. It's not like I'm an amazing player. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I never saw the level 70 and 80, or not level. It's hard because level and age are different. The age 80 and 70 perks, I never saw them. So, although I do like one of them, like I think it was either the 60 or the 50. It's like Old Grumpy or something like that was the name of the perk, and it's basically like, hey, you know how it's like harder to get strength and dex and vitality at this age? We're just gonna give you 15 points in those for picking this perk.
Nice.
Like the thing is, like, you have forgotten more about battle than some people have learned in their entire lives. Is how much you know about battle. I think was what it was. It was actually really cool. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. Cronus from the Ashes. It was on Xbox and PS4. So Xbox One and PS4, I think. It might have been just PS4. I don't know, but I think I saw it on Xbox. It was pretty cool. So yeah, now we're down to our number ones.
All right, so my number one is my most recently completed game, and actually it came out in 2021. I know I was saying last time that I don't think I played anything that came out this year, but
Okay.
I can't stop thinking about the Forgotten City. I went and played it after we last recorded, and I ended up like beating it. And when everything revealed itself to me, my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my god! I started texting my sister-in-law. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I started texting her all of my thoughts about this game. And then I've got some staff members that I know play video games. So I'm like, you guys ever heard of Forgotten City? You guys got Game Pass? It's free. You should play it. Trying to get everyone to play it. It is.
Now this is the trapped Romans one, right? The one they're trapped in the time. Okay, yeah, I did pick this up. It is on my list as well. So
I'm not gonna give anything away because I don't want to ruin that for you. It is, or anybody else that is gonna play it, but it's so cool. I will say, when everything revealed itself to me, I felt a little like, oh, that everything was very on the nose had I been paying attention. But I wasn't, because everything I was trying to figure out how to navigate the story without breaking the golden rule.
Sure.
But I got to a certain point where I decided that it was necessary to break the golden rule in very specific, and then like at points you had to break the golden rule, and then I would just go crazy once the statues came to life and started trying to kill everybody. Like, all right, I already fucked up this timeline, so I'm gonna go run to this place and steal this gold, and then run to the market and steal this item, and then run into this place and steal this, and then run back and loop back to restart the timeline.
Okay.
So, it is. I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it without spoiling the story for people.
Fair.
But it's very smart. It's a very well written story. All of to get the canon ending, you do need to reboot the story or the timeline a few times because as you make mistakes, you learn how to save certain people or to correct their lives, I guess, when you reboot it and come through again. When I was talking to my sister-in-law, she got a different ending than me. So there's 4 different endings to the game. Ending 4 of 4 is what the game is calling the canon ending.
Okay.
But there's one ending that I would say is very bad, and you can do it without looping through at all. So, like, play the game without breaking the law and without looping. And then there's 2 other, depending on if you are feeling like you want to ruin a specific person's
a specific person's life, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to be like very vague because I don't want to spoil it.
Sure.
It's so good. I strongly encourage you to play it if you picked it up. It's not a long game. I think to get the canon ending and I didn't look up anything. I just was like, it feels very like Myst. Probably took me like 8 to 10 hours, something like that. Okay. And then I started to play through it again and making some different choices, and I'm like an hour into the game and I'm almost done. Once you know what you're doing, it's
fair. Different. Okay. Alrighty. So it's Forgotten City, right?
Yes, the Forgotten City, which is free on Game Pass. My sister-in-law played it on Steam, and she said that she thought her game was like buggy and clunky, but that is also what my experience was like on Xbox as well. The only difference is that Xbox told you the game was loading, like a little loading ticker came up. On PC, it didn't, so she just thought her game was breaking.
Oh. Okay.
So, if you do play that, there are specific points where, like, you're about to walk into an area, and it does take a tick to load, but it doesn't happen at all during any of the, like, combat or running sequences. It's just during the walking and exploration.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Forgotten City. Number 1 for Sasha. Ace, your numero uno.
My number 1 is the spiritual successor to Shadow of the Colossus, Pray for the Gods.
Okay.
That just came out recently.
So you got, how far have you gotten in it?
Oh, I finished the game.
Okay.
Now I'm in the just explore around and dig around and see what I can find phases.
Okay.
Trying to find all the stuff that I missed and just find stuff that is still just hidden.
So does it have like an actual end game, or you just like you loaded before like the last boss? Because like Shadow of the Colossus, it was like you finished the game, it was done. Like you killed the last boss, unavoidable, game's done.
You kill the last boss and then you wake up in your sort of respawn area, but now all of a sudden everything there's a choice to either continue with the game or you can continue exploring outside. I just went for finishing the game right away, but you can still explore after, and it kicks off like this magical, I don't know, procedure or whatever that like supposedly frees up the world, but then there are all these fire giants that you have to deal with at the end. So it's essentially a marathon of bosses at the end.
Oh, like a boss rush mode. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to. So in the game, different from Shadow of the Colossus, instead of taking a sword and stabbing them in their weak points, they just have weak points that have like these bells that you have to pull out and then shove back in. So you have to ring them,
Okay.
and it's like 3 times per weak spot. And the end boss is a giant flying lava snake.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's some hidden points on it that you have to figure out in order to be able to get to its weak points to ring the bells and finish it off.
So a little more involved. I mean, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus was like that with some of them. You had to do certain things to expose the weak points. Like, I call it a lizard. Sometimes I call it a turtle. The one that's in the arena that shoots lightning at you. Like, you had to make it climb up a wall, then shoot its, like, cut its foot, make it land on its back to get it to its weak point. Stuff like that. Okay. All right, cool. Pray for the gods?
Although I will say the final boss that you actually fight before all those other ones was a pain in the fucking ass to deal with. And I feel bad for Andrea because she was working at the time. So she was like 10 feet away from me going mentally insane just trying to finish off this boss.
Son of a bitch! Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
A little more quiet than that, but yeah. So just essentially, it's fuming. It's like a goat satyr thing. So what you have to do is the area starts out, there are like these little...
Oh, don't spoil it for me. I do plan on playing this.
But the frustration, Fortois.
Okay. Okay.
So essentially, you have to break off parts of its body first.
Okay.
And then you have to climb up its leg to its first weak point. Then you have to go across off of like a swinging pendulum thing that it's like on its beard. And then you have to jump off of that onto the other side of its leg because you can't go between the two legs just as is because there are parts blocking. Then you have to climb up that leg, run across the platform, jump onto its arm, get the weak point on its arm while not getting blasted because it has lasers. It has a laser collar that it can use to shoot you with, and apparently I never like let myself have it happen, but apparently it's a one-shot kill.
Oh, okay.
So then you have to go from like the weak point on its shoulder down to its arm where it'll like start blasting its arm. You have to wait for it to bring it up by like its head so you can jump off onto its back.
So complicated.
And then there are two pillars on each of its side that you have to get it to blast off these things on it.
To get it to get it to shoot itself. Okay. All right. Yeah, sounds complicated. It's a lot more involved than Shadow of the Colossus. I'm getting it. Yeah.
I was so frustrated. It was probably an hour and a half that I was spending on that guy. Because one of the things that would happen a lot is transitioning from the first leg and trying to get onto the pendulum. I would usually wait for him to try to shake me off because that usually gave a little bit longer of a delay. But what kept happening is that I would try to jump off its first leg to the pendulum, and right as I jump off, it like moves. So the pendulum just swings right the fuck out of the way, and I'm like...
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so Pray for the Gods. That's another one I plan on playing too. There's so many things I want to play, and I'm still not even done with my list. Like I said, Bloodstained, Extinction, and I'm gonna do Guardians of the Galaxy, the new one that came out still, and then of course Blood Dragon, and then those there. Oh my gosh, there's just too much to play this year. Um, all right. So my number one. I've talked about this game quite a bit recently. And I'm shocked it's my number one because I picked it up on a whim. But Tales of Arise is my number one.
I saw that coming.
Like it was
I
just.
figured it was going to be in the top 3.
It was just a stellar game that was like. It's not my normal kind of game. It's not my normal. It's very Japanese. It's very anime. It is very. It is full of those tropes that I normally don't like, but like it does them in its own different way that made it interesting instead of boring, or it didn't make me roll my eyes. There's a lot of like really interesting discussions there that the characters have, like all all of the 6 characters that are playable, um including your main character, have there are tropes to them that you can see in especially in anime shows and stuff like that, because as much as I don't like anime as much as other people, I still see them through my brother and the occasional ones that I watch. But the every character had like sound motivations and reasons for what they were doing. Even the bad guys really did. It's kind of weird. It's one of the few games that you don't agree with the bad guys, but you see why it happened. I mean, kind of deal. And no way are they justified in their actions, but at the same way, you're like, okay, so that's why you did that. You're wrong, and you have to die. But like I get what's going on here. It delves into some heavier issues that you don't see you just see a lot more these days in games. You know, games used to shy away from anything political or social in a lot of those aspects. This very much goes into racism, classism, and even stuff like generational racism. Not just like on the surface, like, hey, we're different and that's bad. Just like ingrained race. They actually tackle some ingrained racism, like some of those behaviors, and it's like, holy cow, like that's a little deeper on this subject than I'm used to seeing in a game. And it doesn't do it in a very, I don't know, it takes itself seriously but not too seriously too. Like, you know, you have these heavy discussions, but then again, you have like, I don't know, 60% of the conversations between people are about food. Like,
Nice.
but they're like, I don't know, and it's actually kind of cool because you're actually kind of rooting for all the characters in a way, and you're like, yes, I want to have something, and there's actual like the relationship that is built between the main character and the pseudo other main character is like, even if it didn't turn out to be a romantic relationship, which spoilers it does because they've been showing that throughout the whole game, but even if it didn't turn out to be romantic, you can understand that there is a connection there because you actually see it, right? It's not like some movies that you watch where it's just like, hey, we're suddenly together because that's what you want to see. It's not like there's no chemistry and then there's like they're just together. Like, this is, you actually get to see a budding relationship between all these people. You know, friendships, whether it be more than friends or just friends, you actually get to see them interact. And even if you don't go through like the ingrained dialogue like I did, like I tried to do every single dialogue, because you'll have like an instance, like you get done with a fight and you'll see on the bottom right of the screen there's a little prompt that says, hey, let's talk about this. And you don't have to do it, it's optional, but it'll go into this like sort of like comic book cutscene of like them talking about what happened or what's going through their mind or whatever. really in depth just on the dialogue and talking more so than I would normally care to do in a game. But I enjoyed it. They did it in a great way. Um, the combat was stellar. I mean, it's just like the Final Fantasy, not just like, but it's very close to the Final Fantasy VII remake combat, which people seem to like. But it's like, I don't know if I will say better, because I feel it's better, but I feel that also might be a very subjective opinion to say it's better. So to me, it was a lot better because you could just focus on one person, and I don't have to have the high level brain of thinking about 6 characters at once and doing inputs for 6 different things at once. I can do one character at a time. And there was a lot of stuff to do in the game, and there's like I don't even have an expansion. The base game had like what was it? What was it had like 56 hours in it? Like it was a solid game experience that I was very hooked into, that I played a long time. That sort of kicked off me playing a lot of things that were like on my list to play.
Right.
It's just an amazing game. Like there's no bones about it to me. Like it is number one by far. I loved Monster Hunter Rise. Don't get me wrong, but Monster Hunter Rise is a certain kind of game that I enjoy for gameplay and ecology. You're not getting any sort of emotional attachment per se, or you're not getting that kind of content out of it usually. Unless for some reason a Wyverian is your waifu and you're upset because she lays eggs.
Oh man.
Like I don't get that attached. I love it. Monster Hunter is my number one series, but like, and I loved Rise is my favorite Monster Hunter, but Tales of Arise just one upped it this year on so many different levels. Because I got frustrated with Rise eventually. Because the thing I like to do, crown hunting, is incredibly difficult in Rise. And I'm hoping Sunbreak fixes that. Also, I'm going to be muscling through some content, which I may end up not enjoying. Even though I love the series. Like, because grinding is grinding, right? Like, grinding is normally not fun, even in your favorite games. Like, so... And that's what crown hunting is grinding, and I want to see that alleviated, and it's just not there. There's just not a good way to do it. So yeah, that's it. Tales of Arise, and yeah, I guess you might have saw that coming because I did talk about it a lot, and it blew my mind. Like me talking about that plot for that game was just like, I have to tell someone because like this plot is insane.
Mm-hmm.
How I feel about the Forgotten City, but the whole point of the game is to discover the plot. So
sure, yeah. I don't think that's the point of the game with Arise. I think it's the relationships that are made along the way, as well as sort of figuring out that plot. But I skimmed over so much talking about it, like so much, because 56 hours of dialogue. I don't think I'm going to do that on a podcast. Although, so whatever. So yeah, that was our games of 2021. Just a little bit of thing. I was super happy this week because 2021 was our best year for the podcast. Ever since I started this in 2017, when you start in October, you're not going to get a lot of listeners in a year, right? And when you got what, 3 months to handle, 3 or 4 months to handle as many listeners as you do. But then I peaked the next year. And every other subsequent year went down in listeners. And I was just like, it's whatever. I do this for a hobby. I do this for fun. But I do want to see growth. And I was really happy that the best year was last year for the podcast. Like we gained a lot of listeners and, like a lot of people joined the Discord at this point. So it was a good year for us. And I just would like to, like to thank everybody who listened and that kind of thing. It was a great year for us. And I hope we can do just as good or better this year.
We'll have to see.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's day one. You know, it's
We
hard to see on day one.
might have to resort to talking about eggs more often.
Oh boy, I don't
Get
know.
those
I'm not
get
sure.
those meme views in.
Get the meme views in. Oh no. Um. So yeah. So anything else to say before we close it out tonight? Okay. Um. So I've told you guys the years, I think, right?
Hmm.
Let me reiterate. I still haven't done any more. But next week we are continuing the Guess the Game. Holy crap! I just tried to
Guess the
open.
game show.
Yes. I'm gonna open that up another time. Holy crap! So do you guys still have the years written down or something?
I do. We have 2003, 2008, 2012, 2017, 2019.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just went to go open up the document and it was full of gibberish because I opened it up on the wrong thing and I didn't want to open it up on stream. I was just like, "What the heck?" Oh, you know why? Because it's in an Excel sheet and not like a notepad thing. That's why. That's why. Because I tried to open it up in Notepad and it looked like garbage. Anyway, so yeah. So next week is our second game show. We do have a fourth coming on for that. Jacob from the Bickering Bucks is going to come on and be the contestant on that. I have told him the years. I just have to remind him that he's going to be on the show. Because, we all get busy. But
Hmm.
also, this week is also going to be this episode of the Game of the Year discussion with the Bickering Bucks. So I'm going to do this again to talk about the same games, but you get to hear the other people's games of their year as well. I will probably do it in the correct order this time too. Hopefully. So, alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Happy New Year, because it is January 1st as we're recording. Of course, I'll probably have this out tomorrow if I have the time, I think. Yeah, it's hard with the girls sometimes, but we'll see. So yeah, have a good night, everybody. At HunterTubPod on Twitter, at Ace Badger Gaming for Ace, and be sure to join the Discord if you want to talk to any of us, Sasha or anyone, because Sasha doesn't do Twitter. So, of course, we stream here on Twitch, and then also if you're listening and you prefer to listen elsewhere, we also do this on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify, and of course direct RSS feeds as well with whichever podcast app you use. So have a good night, folks, and we will catch you next week for the game show. So later.
Bye bye.